Good morning and welcome to my podcast. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host, and here we are this morning on Monday, the 3rd of June. How to fight CPS and how to keep your children or don't let your children go. I'm a living father and a husband of 6 children, and I've been through 14 years of fighting with CPS. So I'm here to help you. I'm not an attorney, but I have experienced what you're going through, and I wanted to share some things that may help you. I have 3 rules that I've come up with, very important rules that should help you with your CPS case. Rule number 1 is get an attorney. Rule number 2 is to do your paperwork. And rule number 3 is to say no to CPS and don't let them take your children or in your house. I'll talk more about those rules later. I'd like to go over our housekeeping first of how you can interact with this podcast. This is a live podcast you found on Facebook via YouTube. I'm broadcasting on using the StreamYard application. And there are 3 ways you interact. The first way is typing in a comment about your CPS questions. You need to show your name, city, state, or country and be complete with your CPS case. It's really easy. You just type it in, and I'll answer your question, or other people in the room can help you. This room is followed by lots of people, and I'm sorry that you're in this predicament. You're in this room because you care about your children, so you're good parents. Don't let CPS tell you differently, okay? Because you're in this room, and I really want to help you. I wish I was there to put my arm around you and hug you and tell you it'll be all better. But I'm afraid that CPS is a rogue government organization. They're very bad. They're very non-transparent. They only solely do this to traffic your children into foster care and gain $20,000 a month on your child. It's a $50 billion business. They make money trafficking your children. They make money. And hopefully my host will come on, and she has a picture that will really sadden your heart about 8 social workers in Prescott, Arizona in 2022 that wore pink t-shirts that said professional kidnappers, and on the back they said, "Do you know where your parents are?" It's very, very, very bad. Anyway, to interact, you can do comments. Please pertain them to CPS. I know there's a lot going on in this world, and I want to concentrate on helping you guys with your CPS questions or comments. Now, I mentioned country. This is actually transmitted worldwide. I've had several countries text me messages there. In fact, I had one country call in. So I've had comments from Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, Ghana, which is a country in Brazil, not Brazil, I'm sorry, in South America, north of Brazil, east of Venezuela on the coast. Then I've had Mexico, and I've had Mozambique, which is a country in Africa. It's north of South Africa, south of Somalia on the coast, the east side, opposite the island of Madagascar. And I don't know if Madagascar is an island or a small continent. I've been trying to figure that one out. But anyway, those countries have CPS problems just like we do. And they shared it, and I tried to answer the best I can when they called in. Now, another way to interact with this podcast is that you can call my number. Yes, I have an office number, and it's 626-698-0990. And that will connect you with my phone, which is right beside me. And what I can do is I can put you on speakerphone, and you can talk to me, actually talk to the room. You won't be in the room, but your voice will be able to. And let me see if, okay. So you can call in at 626-698-0990. And I will be able to talk to you. You can talk to me. The room can help you with questions and so forth. I'm checking with okay. Now, if you're not ready to talk and you don't want to do text messages, I have a really great show producer. Her name is Grace. I really appreciate what she does. And she also handles my guests on the show. So to schedule as our guest, all you do is email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. She's my show producer. She'll put you one of my 14 podcasts. I'm on 7 days a week, 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time and 7 o'clock at night Pacific Standard Time. So that's 14 shows you can pick from, morning or afternoon, Sunday, Monday, whatever the day. You just tell her what day and what time, morning or afternoon, and I'll do it. Now, on Sunday, I'm on at 8 o'clock. That's the only day that I deviate. So Sunday, I'm on at 8 o'clock. There may be times that I may be on different times because of other shows or because of real life commitments. But anyway, email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Hey, KK, welcome from Brooklyn, New York. Faye, great. Daniel's not here. I'd love for you to be my host this morning, Faye, if you'd like to come on. And maybe just your voice, but great if you could be our host. You had mentioned you expressed an interest, and Grace wanted to work with you to be our host. Faye is from Kentucky, Richmond, Kentucky, and she's been a long-time follower. And Kay is from Brooklyn, New York, and her daughter's birthday was yesterday. So happy again, birthday. Well, she was loading a truck last night. She had a new big rig or something. She drives big rigs or something, and she was offloading it. And that's the last I heard from her. I hope everything went okay. But I've texted her and not heard back from her yet. So hopefully she'll be on soon. Good morning. I don't know if there's a specific topic that you like to talk about, but I'm open to talk about anything. I have my 3 rules I mentioned when I first started the show. I've already done my housekeeping things. And so if there's anything new with you, KK, Kimi, she has several names there, or let me know. Let me know how I can help you and so forth. I have now 79 windows open with all kinds of things that talk about CPS. Different states, of course, Georgia, Indiana. I have lots of things I could talk about this. But it is a hard thing, and both KK and Faye have gone through a lot in their CPS case. They've shared it with me. Faye's son is constantly being hassled by the police, and so is she. I'm just sad that the police are corrupt there in Richmond. I think they're corrupt everywhere. I've still not recovered about the innocent man of 23 years old gunned down in Gainesville, Florida, when he just answered the door. He just answered the door and he was gunned down, point blank. I don't know why that came on there. Gotta watch my mouse. It does things weird. There we go. You want to talk about foster care agencies and CPS violating court orders. Those are two good topics to talk about, Kay. My son wants to sue civilly CPS for what they did to him, but I don't know where to start or how to get a civil attorney to take it on contingency. Well, Faye, you've been on Mr. Davis's show, and if you have a really good solid case, he may take it on. All you have to do is call him at 888-888-6582. He has done lawsuits. He also mentioned maybe other people that can help you also. Let me see here. Sorry, I was adjusting my seat here. Whoops. I lost my pillow here. Oh boy. Gonna make you guys dizzy. There we go. I had to put a pillow for my back here. Yeah, I know, Faye. I wish I could too. Did he say no to a contingency with your case? How did he feel about your case, your civil rights case? Okay. Good morning. And who am I speaking to?
Faye.
Oh, hi, Faye. I'm glad that you called in. Are you still interested in being a host, or that's not what?
Well, I didn't know because Danielle does it with you, and I didn't want to
No. You were the first person that asked, and you said you're interested, but then you were sick for a while. But we could have three of you. This window holds 9 people.
Oh, okay.
So there's no problem about having a third person, because it's kind of nice. It's kind of like everybody can talk, and feel at ease there. Now, have you asked Mr. Davis if he would take your case on a contingency?
Well, the thing about that is he's so far away. I'm all the way in Kentucky, and I don't think I would be able to afford to pay for his travel and all that stuff.
Well, if it depends on your case. This is how it was explained to me. He was going to do a civil lawsuit for me. And the value of the thing, some attorneys charge 30%. I don't know what Vincent would charge. They charge 30%, not charge, but they get to keep 30% of what they win in court. And so maybe he didn't think my case was strong enough to do it on a contingency. Or that he was going to get what I wanted there. Because to me, I'd give him 50. I'd give him all the money. If he won $10 million, let him keep it all. But he wouldn't do that. But um, that's something that he would have to look into. But all he has to do is say no. Did you have a good time with him on your show? Did you feel comfortable with him?
Yeah, I did. I just know I live really far away. I mean, I'm in Kentucky, and he's like almost a light year away from me, so I know it would be pretty expensive. I mean, I could ask him. I would have to pay the money to do the consult with him first.
Yeah. The $60. Yeah, I know that would be hard. Yeah. I'm sorry, Faye. I'd like to really help you. I feel I'd like to get my home back. I lost a $2 million home, so that really sucks.
Yeah,
That took me 40 years.
I rent. I don't have a home to put up, so it's not as easy for me because I have no assets.
Well, when I lost my job, my first asset was my home, and I tried to keep on it, but I needed the money, and so I had to sell my home. It's sad, but I had to.
Right. I understand that. Baby, don't bark. Come here.
No,
you hear a dog bark. It's my dog. Here. Come on, let's go in so you don't bark.
I'm doing my iced tea a little differently now. I decided to add mint to my iced tea. People said you can put mint in your iced tea.
Oh yeah, mint's really good in tea.
And I didn't realize that. And when it gets like down at the bottom, you can really taste the mint.
Oh yeah. I really like mint in my tea. I've drank mint in tea for a long time.
Yeah, I just got to decide which way to make the iced tea. Anyway, KK had some topics. Maybe we could help her. She wants to talk about foster care. I know that you want to get a lawsuit going. We could talk about that. And she's also talking about violating court orders. And I don't know, violating the court orders, you would have to get rid of the judge, KK. For all you listeners in there, the judges are elected officials, and this being election year, make sure you vote a judge that knows what he's doing. My judge knew all about automobile claims and collisions with cars, but he knew nothing about neglect of children, physical abuse or neglect, or family reunification. So,
is KK representing herself, or does she have a lawyer?
Well, she says that she is now a lawyer. She's trained and she is there. And I think she's still using a court-appointed attorney, I guess. KK, can you answer that question? See if she can answer that question there, KK.
If she is a lawyer, the court-appointed lawyer should be able to let the courts know that CPS isn't following the court orders, and they can be held in contempt just like she can. Judges have held CPS social workers in contempt many a time for not following court orders.
Yeah, the thing is, there's so many. When you type in that question, I come up with a lot of ask a lawyer, and they say for $5 you can join anytime and cancel anytime. Is that how do you want to invest $5 monthly to somebody you don't know? To me, that's still small change. You love to be a host, Mr. Pace?
Are you talking about attorneys on Avo?
No, what happened is I typed in this.
Or ask a lawyer.
I think it's called Ask a Lawyer, yeah.
It's a pretty good site. I've used it.
Yeah, I guess is $5 okay?
I mean, just to ask a question and get an answer, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is there. Okay, Kima is representing, she has a lawyer on a retainer. And Miss Faith, I absolutely definitely know that. I've tried to be consent motions against the first parent as well as CPS, and they are not responding for anything. The only way I know about fixing something is you got to get rid of them. You got to get rid of the judge and you got to get rid of the social worker. And if it doesn't work at the level that you're at the county level, talking to the supervisor, managers, or the CPS director, then you're going to have to move it up to the state. Then you're going to have to move it up to the state. Now, Miss Faith, who is Miss Faith? Is there someone that is Miss Faith? Oh, I'm.
She was talking about me. She was answering me.
Oh, she spelled your name wrong.
Miss
Yeah,
Faith.
yeah. She has FITH. Okay, now I know who. Okay.
Yeah.
She meant to say contempt.
Yeah, contempt.
The judge is not the problem. It's the agency and CPS advise what's written. Okay, well then you're going to have to go to the managers and supervisors, or you're going to have to go to the director in Brooklyn, New York, or you're going to have to go to the state.
Well, can I say something though?
Yes, I want you to say something.
In my case, when the social workers weren't following the court orders, my paid attorney told me that I needed to make the judge aware of it. A lot of times the judge is not aware that they're not following the court order. The judge is the one that orders it. CPS is just involved in initiating what needs to be done to follow the orders. So if they're not doing it, she can file complaints up the line about them not following it, but until a judge puts them in their place and says, you will follow the court order or you'll be held in contempt, then she's not going to get anywhere.
Have you tried that, Kima? Have you tried to send it to the judge?
Because a lot of times the judges don't even know that social services ain't following the court orders or isn't following the court orders.
Right. I agree. Have you tried to contact the judge directly, KK Akima? I don't know what name you like to be called. Her name is KK or Kima.
It's a motion you have to file through her attorney, or I guess she could file it herself, but usually if you have an attorney, they want the attorney to do it and not you, but
right.
She has to put a motion in front into the court to speak to the judge. Then she needs to make the judge aware of what court orders they're not following. And once he sees that and she provides evidence that they're not following them, then he can then ask the workers that is in question why they're not doing it and hold them in contempt for not doing it.
Did you hear that, KK? Did you hear that?
That's what we did in my case.
That worked in Richmond, Kentucky. I don't know if it worked in Brooklyn, New York, but
yeah.
Now she also wanted to talk about foster care. Foster care is a horrible, horrible. They're independent agency that CPS hires. Yeah, they're private. Yeah, they're private. You're right. And they're supposed to go through training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm an ex-foster child, so I know quite a bit about foster agencies.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about foster care and foster agencies. And, for people listening, foster is a temporary. The foster care is a big word meaning all the people involved in working at shelters, single family homes, group homes. That is what foster care is. Now, a foster care has a parent that supposedly has gone through training and has been trained by the CPS in that county and is supposed to protect the children from abuse and neglect also. They're also supposed to follow the court orders. So if there's visitations, they're supposed to honor that.
Right.
Now, KK says that there's mental impairment, that they have some diagnostic her, and so it's very hard to go there. Also, KK, if you have a judge retained, it's got to go, if you have an attorney that's retained, you have to go through the attorney. The only time you can speak in court or approach the honor is if you're defended yourself. That's the only time. Whether you have a professional attorney, dependency law attorney like Mr. Davis, or you have a court-appointed attorney, parents do not talk in the courtroom.
Right. You have to go through your attorney unless you're representing yourself.
Now, KK says that this foster care agency in Brooklyn, New York, suspended all visits without a court order and then mysteriously had the motion heard the following day when in New York City you have 10-day notice. Well, what did your attorney say, KK? What did your attorney say about the 10-day notice? And by the way, if you want to be a host of the show, all you have to do is email Grace at vincentwdavis.com and tell her you like to. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. And you can be a host. As I say, I can have 9 people in this room, all showing the camera. So more the merrier. And you're on with me every day, KK, as well as Faye and Danielle and several others. So there's no problem there. Okay, she said, unfortunately, they were moving towards the decision from the very beginning. I mean, if you have a court order, your lawyer could enter in court and tell the judge, we have a court order with foster care to have visitations, and they have stopped the visitations.
Okay, so was it a therapist that stopped the visitations through CPS?
Foster care parent did.
The foster care parent did?
Well, that's what she's saying.
Okay. Well, it's usually not up to the foster care parent to stop the visitation.
Well, she knows that, but apparently the visits were stopped, and then she said in court the following day they had a motion heard in court, and there's supposed to be a 10-day notice in New York City.
Yeah.
See, I don't know what it is to, fight the case yourself, have a public defender, and then have a lawyer retained, and you're kind of juggling between the three. I know you're not using a public defender, but you do yourself. You are supposedly passed the bar exam of New York, I guess, and you can practice law. Now, is your specialty dependency law, KK? Are you dependency law? Now, KK, I'll point out that Faye was brought up in foster care. That's how she knows about foster care. And when she got older in life and had children, foster care found out that she was in foster care and started bad things against Faye. Understand, KK. I'm not trying to put you on the hot spot. I'm only trying to help you. You mentioned that you wanted to talk about foster care and what they did wrong to you, and I'd like to try to help you there. For all you other people that are listening that maybe have not said anything, you can you can text in a comment. I need to change the phone number because I have Faye on the line. Okay, and then let me see for texting in a comment here. Let me put that up there. But I am able to take comments, just like KK is discussing. So,
No, baby, no.
you know, KK, I know how you feel. I know exactly how you feel when you lose everything. I mean, every day I'm faced with reality that I have a 20-year-old daughter that I can't share her life with. I can't see her get married. I can't see her date other guys or finish up college or go to her. I didn't go to a high school graduation. It was sad. At 12 years, she was taken from me. At 12 years, my daughter was taken from me, and it hurts. Now, my son graduated yesterday. It was nice to see him at the graduation. And my older sons live with me too, and so he graduated too. So I got to see my two sons. But my daughter, my youngest daughter, is at age 12. CPS took her away. They told her that you divorce your parents, you change your name, you seal your birth certificate, and then you be adopted by a foster care. Nothing. There's no effort at all that CPS make for me reunite with our daughter. My wife was visiting her a little bit, but then after that, it stopped with my wife. And so both my wife and I have no relationship with our 21-year-old daughter, who was very loving at the time at 12. I'll never forget her last words. She loved you, Daddy. That's really hard to see how corrupt CPS, how they can take a child and abuse that child and do alienation and trafficking and get away with it. It's wrong. It's wrong. It is so wrong to do that.
It is very similar to me.
Yeah,
and my social worker made it very clear to me when I was in her office as a teenager because she didn't like the fact that I was acting out in all my placements. And she pretty much told me, she said, if you ever have kids, that we're going to get them too, right? And I just rolled my eyes at her at the time because I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. I would never let my kids go to foster care. Well, boy, was I ever wrong.
Yeah, I know. That's the sad thing. There's got to be some way we can stop CPS because they violate your home by coming in your home, tricking you. They use the police. That is wrong. They have constitutional rights. And I know
they took my kids. They took my kids with no court orders, no warrant, no nothing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they told me when they all pounced on at me in front of my home, about 9 or 10 of them were there. 5 firemen. I don't know what the firemen were there. All they did is inspect the smoke alarm. The 3 social workers, I guess, were afraid to come in by themselves, and the 2 uniformed police officers were there. They were making it sound like I was a high risk. I have no criminal background.
They were trying to make you sound like a hoarder.
Yeah, exactly. They said, well, look at your parents' things.
That's why the firemen were there.
Yeah. Yeah, and
that's why the firemen were there.
The code enforcement. I said code enforcement was there too.
Yeah, because they were trying to make your house look like it was a hoarder house.
Yeah.
Where you hoarded stuff, a hoarder house.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what they were trying to make it look like.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's where they were saying that the children were extreme danger, even though there's nothing upstairs in their bedroom that considered in danger to them. It's a downstarter.
Did they take pictures of your home?
I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I did not see them. I mean, they were walking around. I was open up my heart to everybody. I opened my heart to the police detective. And all he did his report to the what do you call the guys? The city prosecutor. And they decided to do criminal charges against me. They duplicated what CPS, but they added 3 counts of sexual charges against me and my wife. Why do they do the sexual charges? It's their MO. They want you to delete the sexual charges. They want to use it as a bargaining chip. Every case they go against parents, they always try to dump in sexual charges. And there's nothing sexual charges about it. And I didn't want to put my family through the court because it would have been a trial by jury, and I was innocent. I should have, but I didn't have the money. And my attorney represented me. He says, well, I can't afford to fight this case. You make a plea bargain. So they dropped the sexual charges, and they dropped the charges against my wife, and they stuck the negligent charges against me. And I had to go through a whole year with a probation officer and treat it, even though it was a misdemeanor. It was terrible. It was terrible. And I did it because I just didn't want my family to go through it. But I regret, because I would have fought the case and won. I would have fought the case because they had no proof of any of the charges they were trying to do.
Right.
Okay. Poor KK.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm just reading what KK's written. And she says
What did she say?
Well, she is, she says, I get an order, I'm restricted, and I die. She has she has stage 4 cancer. I'm still fighting for my life.
Gosh.
And my sanity, my sobriety, and my overall credibility. And now she just received a call from my therapist, and the statements were ridiculous. What did the therapist say? What did the therapist say, KK? And you were going to say something too, because I cut you off, Faye. What were you going to say?
I don't know now. It's okay, though.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm so glad you called in. It's been a while since we talked.
Yeah.
But your foster care, how old were you when you put in foster care?
Well, I was put in foster care off and on throughout my whole life. The first time I went in, I was 18 months old. And then I went back in again at age 3. And then I went back in again at age 7, then 10, and then 14.
Why did they do it so many times? What was your mother doing all those times?
I mean, I don't know. I know when I went in at 10, I was adamant about not going back home at that point.
So things were rough at home. Things were rough at home.
Oh yeah, they actually took me away from my mom for good reasons. My mom she was young when she had me. She was only 16.
Okay.
When she had me, and then she got married to my dad at 17 and was divorced from him by 20. So it was a real rough life because, I mean, her and my dad had no interactions with each other because of domestic violence. And he had his rights terminated due to domestic violence to me. So then that just left me with my mom. And then my mom was so young, she put her needs above mine, partying, wanting to go out, hang out, and do all the stuff that, people do when they're young. And I got shifted off to babysitter to babysitter to babysitter to babysitter, and in between all the different strangers that I would end up with, I would get abused, or I would get raped, or I would get molested, or I would witness things there that were awful. It was just a lot of different stuff.
Well,
Hello?
I think I was just digesting what you said. I think, you've turned out to be a remarkable lady. I mean, you definitely have your priorities right, and you sound well educated, and you have great manners and so forth. And so I'm happy to have met you. And I feel so bad that you and your son have to go through so much police harassment.
Thank you. I appreciate the kind words. I try. I definitely try. So I just want, I look at it this way. What happened to my family was an absolute tragedy. But if I can come on here and share my story or what my children went through and what happened to my family and, my experiences with the family court and the Child Protective Services system, and it can save a child or save a family from going what mine went through, then it wasn't in vain. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
That's why I do it.
Yeah, well, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Let me see here. I want to go back to Kay. Kay, she said that that I'm interfering in my children's level of care based on me canceling therapeutic services. I guess. Well, you still have the medical rights. I understand, KK. So the therapist is saying negative things to you, if I understand that correctly.
The therapist says what? Bob, I couldn't hear you.
Okay, the therapist for KK just called her and told her this. She says that KK, let me see here. What'd she say? That the therapist says that KK is interfering her children's level of care based on KK canceling therapeutic services. Now, is this therapist from the CPS or is this your therapist from your health insurance plans, KK? I'm confused now.
I'm thinking it's from CPS.
Yeah, I can't believe that your therapist would say that. Yeah, first of all, why are you talking to a therapist of CPS? You're fine, Kay. You don't.
During my case.
I'm sorry, what?
During my case, they did the same thing.
So you said that you had therapists that CPS was using to supposedly work with your children, and then they would contact you and tell you that you're doing something bad?
Are you speaking to me or KK?
I'm speaking to you, Faye. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, what happened is that CPS would contact me via letter and tell me that my children's therapist recommended that my visits be stopped with my children for bogus reasons. And so therefore I wouldn't get to see my son or both for 3 or 4 months.
And were there any reasons they were giving the therapist?
They would just say that the children was dealing with, mental, more mental issues because of visits with me. So they would stop visits with me and the kids would automatically get better, of course.
Okay, now this is her personal therapist, not CPS, that's saying those negative things to you, KK? I'm confused.
Her therapist?
Well, that's what she says. This is my personal therapist. Oh, she says, no, my personal therapist informing me this is what CPS inquired about without a release. KK, I'm a little bit confused here because I'm getting bits and pieces.
Can she? Well, no. Can she call in?
No, I can't only handle one call at a time there.
Well, ask her to call in, and she will. I'll hang up, and then she can talk. And
well, no, I think this is good because you're helping me because this way I have you and me talking, and KK, all attention can go to her. So I had my therapist service that advocated for my children for prior to them being removed. Okay. Well, okay, KK, I'm going to guess again. This is not the CPS therapist for your children. This is therapists that you found through your medical plan to put your children in. Well, this is the problem. I can see it right now. If your children are against you or say negative things, then you're really screwed, to be honest with you. I don't mean to put it bluntly like that. But anytime children or your other half, a spouse or the biological father, start saying negative things about the other parent, that screws up the whole process. That screws up, and no one's going to win.
Well, my son did the same thing, but it was because the therapist and CPS was putting stuff in his head that was untrue. And so he thought that it was true, so he was mad at me. So he would say things about me or about, whatever to, I guess, to get back at me because of what he was told.
Well, that's called alienation.
Yeah, well, that's what CPS does.
Yeah.
That's how they break the bond between parent and child, so they're easier to adopt to a new family. 90% of the cases are concurrent cases. So even though you're working your case to get your kids back, behind the scenes, they're working behind you to figure out a family to adopt your kids. So the whole time you're working through all these hoops, loops, and all this stuff they want you to do, they're over there working your kids in therapy and all of that, basically getting them ready to be emotionally detached from you so that their adoption is easier.
Okay, KK has clarified. She said that she got personal services implemented before CPS was ever involved. So she must have used her medical insurance and got a therapist for her children and a therapist for her.
Okay. And so her therapist is telling her that somehow she's interfering with her children's level of care.
Right, right.
Has she explained to her how she's doing that?
Yeah. Has your therapist, KK, explained to how you're doing the interfering with your children?
George.
Oh my God. KK says her ex-husband literally said to his children he would kill KK if they went somewhere else. Oh my goodness. KK has a hard case because she has her ex-husband doing bad things behind her back.
So basically, it's the father that's doing that, going along with.
Well, the father, I think, has interfered with KK. I think she's divorced from her husband.
Yeah, I get that.
But he probably is
so
still involved.
He's doing alienation.
Yeah, he's probably still involved doing alienation against KK with the children.
So he has the children?
Well, no, it says kids? No. It says her ex-husband initiated this case by child endangerment and domestic violence. He violated the order of protection 8 times, invading the law for over a year. So KK has always been in therapeutic service, which is nothing wrong being in that way. I mean, if I had a spouse that was alienating my children, oh boy. So go ahead.
I guess I'm trying to figure out who has her kids.
Yeah, who has the kids right now, Kay? Kay, who has the kids? Does CPS have the kids in foster care? Does your husband have the kids?
I'm not familiar with her story. This is the first time
That's
I've heard
right.
about her on here.
Faye, yeah, that's right. The kids are in foster care with a resource of my ex-husband who does not know me, but it's not my friend. It's not conductive to reunification. So, did you, when you got a divorce, was your husband put into custody of the kids? Do you have joint custody with your husband? Or does your husband have full custody of the kids? Or do you have full custody of the kids and they're in CPS's hands for the moment? That's what I'm trying to understand. She says a resource. Her husband had supposedly put him with a therapist that I guess is a bad therapist.
I get that the children are with a therapist, but I'm trying to find out who it is has temporary custody of the kids.
I'm trying to find that too. I didn't even know. She says, honestly, I didn't even know we were divorced.
What?
She said, I didn't
How
even
can you
know
not know you're divorced?
She had parole for New York City, validating the marriage license. He would never be able to come here. I guess she says he did something about validating the marriage license. I'm really confused about your divorce. And so my ex-husband was apprehended on Good Friday. And Maine finally, so his friend has the children. Oh my goodness gracious. Did your husband through the divorce get custody of children and then turn over custody to his friend? You're the biological mother. What's going on here? I'm totally confused, KK. I thought your case was totally different. I'm glad we're talking about it, but it's in bits and pieces and it's hard for me to understand. So you have a divorce.
She needs to come on as a guest.
Yeah, she's been before, so
even I'm having a hard time understanding that because
my ex-husband,
I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, my ex-husband is not even on the birth certificate, nor do my children have his last name. So how did CPS determine paternity with you, KK? Now she says 11-year-old child's not his biological child. Oh, I'm so confused. They don't have the last name. 11-year-old child. Okay. They're not with a therapist. They're with a friend of my ex-husband. They did not validate it. Okay, how does your children be with a friend and you're the biological mother? You and your husband were married. So you go to family court and you dissolve the marriage, and the judge has to determine, is it joint custody of the children? Is it 50-50? Is it 90? It depends on what the arrangements are in the court. So what was your court order with your divorce? It has nothing to do with your ex-husband's friend. He can't get possession of your children. You're the biological parent. We dissolved the marriage, to my knowledge. I just found out July 2016. Okay. I know you live in it every day. Hello, Christina. You've been on before. You need to replace the judge. The judges can be replaced in dependency court. You have to go to the state to replace a judge. You have to go to the state level to do it. Hi, Christina. I forgot where you're from. Are you from Alabama, Arkansas? I can't remember. Um, um, Illinois. Okay, Christina is from Illinois. Welcome, Christina. I'm talking with KK in Brooklyn, New York. I'm also have on the phone, I have Faye from Richmond, Kentucky. And we're trying to help out KK and understand her case. We were talking about foster care. The topics today were about foster care and how to enforce CPS not follow. Well, how to have CPS follow the court orders. They're not following the court orders. Okay, your husband was incarcerated for 7 years prior to this case. Okay, so your husband is put in prison for 7.5 years. Did you stay married to your husband or did you divorce your husband? Did you divorce your husband while he's in prison? Or after you got out of prison, did you divorce your husband? When was your divorce um, done? While he was in prison, after prison, or before he went to prison? When did you do the divorce? And what is the decree of the divorce? Who has custody? His friend can't put the children with his friends unless there's a court order. It's so hard for you, KK. I want to help you. You still there, Faye?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm trying to help out KK, but it goes in circles and ups and downs. So I think tonight she needs to call in tonight at 7 o'clock my time, Pacific Standard.
It's really hard to understand it in text messages.
Well, it's like in circles. It's bits and pieces. So,
right.
KK, I think it'd be best because we only have 2 minutes left of the show that you call in at 7 o'clock, which is now 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 10 o'clock your time. 10 o'clock your time, you call in. I'll be live at 7 o'clock and we can talk further about your case. I need you to start from the beginning, how the children were born. I don't understand certain things that are not making sense. If you are married and you have a man in your life, you have a thing called a marriage. And during the marriage, if you have children, you jointly share the care of the children. Now, if your husband gets incarcerated or gets in trouble with the law, you may stay married or you may get a divorce or something, but then you got to figure out who takes care of the children. And for him to put them with his friend, that's not a legal maneuver.
The only way that I would think, or at least here in my state, that a judge would put them with a friend is if there was something in place stating that the mother wasn't stable.
Well, I think what's happened is that they've somehow implied the mother has mental problems, which I don't think she does because she's talked on the show and she just got a lawyer degree. She passed the bar exam in New York, and I don't know what law she got into. I think it was family law or dependency, but whatever it is. Anyway, KK, I'm not ignoring you. I think it goes in there. Christina doesn't have any questions. She's just listening, and she has the same kind of problem too, not following court orders. That's a common thing. They weren't following court orders with me. They weren't following court orders with you, Faye, and they didn't follow court orders with KK. Or Natalie, too. Yeah. Natalie from West Hollywood is on here a lot, too. In fact, I thought she was on this morning. Didn't she say hi? Natalie, or she disappear? She's the lady that sits on a piece of cardboard in her driveway in West Hollywood. Her house is too hot. The weather's been too hot, and I guess she doesn't have the money running air conditioning. It's expensive. It adds about $100 to $200 to your electric bill if you're running air conditioning.
Tell her to get evaporative coolers.
Oh, those are pretty good.
Yeah, you can get large evaporative coolers, and it'll cool your house off to by at least 20, 30 degrees.
Wow. Are they expensive?
It depends on which ones you buy, but I mean, no more than it would cost to run an HVAC system, it would be less expensive than that for sure.
Okay. Because I know we have individual.
These are what evaporative coolers are. Is they run off of ice packs that you put in them.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
that's how they cool. You plug
Hold
them
on a
in
second.
and they use the ice packs
Yeah.
to cool.
Kay, hold on a second. I got to sign off. My time's up. KK, please call in tonight. Don't feel distressed. We care about you, KK. And you can talk to Faye. I mean, you talk to Grace at Grace at vincentwdavis.com and ask to be a host if you want to be a host, or call in tonight. Thank you, Christina, for going there. And again, thank to all my listeners. Keep fighting your kids. God bless you. And I'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock my time. All right.